The blind date was empty, until three little girls walked in and said their dad was sorry he was late. The restaurant was too quiet for a Friday night, the kind of quiet that makes you hear your own heartbeat when you're already on edge. Candles flickered on empty tables, soft music floated through the air, and every passing minute felt heavier than the last. She sat alone, fingers wrapped around a cooling cup of coffee, checking her phone again even though she already knew what it would say. No new messages. No explanation. Just silence. She told herself not to jump to conclusions, but disappointment crept in anyway, the familiar ache of hoping for something good and watching it slip away yet again. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the unexpected ways life can surprise us, take a moment right now to like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. This story is for everyone who has ever felt forgotten, only to discover they were being led somewhere better. She hadn't even wanted to come on this blind date. Friends had insisted, claiming she deserved happiness after years of putting everyone else first. She was the reliable one, the strong one, the woman who showed up for birthdays, emergencies, and late-night calls, while quietly accepting that no one ever really showed up for her. Agreeing to this dinner felt like a small act of rebellion against her own guarded heart. Yet here she was, alone, wondering why she'd let herself believe this time might be different. Her thoughts drifted to the long road that had brought her here. Years ago, she had imagined a life filled with partnership and shared dreams, but reality had given her something else entirely. A string of relationships that faded when things got hard. Promises that sounded sincere until they weren't. She had learned to build walls not because she wanted to, but because she had to. Sitting there now, dressed carefully, makeup done with quiet hope, those walls felt heavier than ever. The idea of standing up, paying the bill, and leaving without a word tempted her. At least then she could pretend she hadn't expected much. Just as she reached for her purse, the door opened. At first, she barely noticed. Her eyes were fixed on the table, on the faint ring left by her cup, on anything that would keep her from feeling foolish. Then she heard the soft shuffle of small shoes and sensed movement in her peripheral vision. She looked up, expecting maybe a family passing through, but instead she saw three little girls standing just inside the restaurant. They were holding hands, their matching coats slightly too big, their faces nervous yet determined. They scanned the room until their eyes landed on her, and something unspoken passed between them. The oldest stepped forward first, her posture brave in a way only children can manage, the kind of bravery that comes from necessity rather than confidence. The middle one clutched her sleeve, peeking out with wide, curious eyes, while the youngest hugged a small stuffed animal like it was a shield. The hostess seemed confused, unsure what to do, but the girls walked with purpose, straight toward her table. Time slowed. Confusion replaced disappointment, curiosity pushing aside the sting of being stood up. Her first instinct was that there must be some mistake, that these children were lost or searching for someone else. But then she noticed how intently they were looking at her, as if she were exactly where they had hoped she'd be. Before she could speak, the oldest girl carefully explained that their father had sent them ahead, that he was sorry for being late, and that he hoped she would wait just a little longer. Her breath caught. The words felt surreal, like a scene from a movie she hadn't agreed to star in. A dozen questions rushed through her mind. Was this some kind of joke? Had her friends orchestrated something strange? Why would anyone send children into a blind date scenario? Yet when she looked at their faces, she saw nothing but sincerity. No mischief. No rehearsed lines. Just honesty and a hint of worry, as if they feared she might already be upset. She nodded before she even realized she had, gesturing for them to sit. The girls climbed into the chairs, swinging their legs, clearly relieved. In that moment, something shifted inside her. The loneliness she had felt minutes ago softened, replaced by an unexpected warmth. She ordered drinks for them, listening as they shared small details about their day, about school and favorite colors, about how their dad worked very hard and sometimes ran late. Without realizing it, she began to smile. As minutes passed, she learned more without ever asking directly. Their mother was mentioned gently, in past tense, with the careful respect children use when they know something hurts but don't fully understand why. She pieced together the truth quietly. A single father. 3 daughters. A life built around responsibility and love, likely held together by exhaustion and hope in equal measure. The idea humbled her. She thought of her own fears about commitment, about being disappointed, and felt them rearrange themselves. When their father finally arrived, breathless and apologetic, the room seemed to exhale with him. He looked exactly how life had shaped him. Tired eyes softened by relief. Shoulders carrying more than just a workday's weight. He thanked her over and over, embarrassment written all over his face, explaining that childcare plans had fallen apart at the last minute. Sending the girls ahead had been a desperate choice, one he hadn't been sure she would forgive. She surprised herself by realizing she wasn't angry at all. Instead, she felt seen in a way she hadn't in years. Anyone could be on time for a date when life was easy. But this man had shown up honestly, imperfectly, with his whole reality in tow. There was no pretending, no polished mask. Just truth. Dinner unfolded differently than she'd imagined when she first sat down alone. The girls laughed quietly, coloring on napkins. Their father relaxed bit by bit, his gratitude turning into conversation. She found herself opening up too, sharing pieces of her life she usually kept guarded. The walls she'd built didn't crumble all at once, but a door cracked open. As the night went on, she noticed the small things. The way he checked on the girls before every bite of his own meal. The way they leaned toward him instinctively, secure in his presence. The way he listened when she spoke, not distracted, not trying to impress, just present. It struck her that this was what real connection looked like. Not fireworks or rehearsed charm, but quiet understanding. Yet doubt still whispered in her mind. She wondered if she was ready for something like this. Loving a man with children wasn't a simple path. It meant stepping into a story already in progress, one with joy and pain intertwined. It meant accepting that she would never be the center of his world, and that perhaps that was exactly what made him worth knowing. She had spent so long fearing being second choice that she hadn't considered the beauty of being chosen alongside others. When the evening ended, there was no dramatic promise, no grand declaration. Just a shared moment outside the restaurant, cool air brushing their faces, the girls hugging her goodbye like it was the most natural thing in the world. She watched them walk away, hands linked, and felt something settle in her chest. Not certainty, but possibility. In the days that followed, she thought about that night more than she expected. About how close she'd come to leaving before the door opened. About how easily she could have missed something extraordinary because she was tired of being patient. Life, she realized, rarely arrives the way we plan. Sometimes it sends messengers ahead of it, small and unexpected, to test whether we're willing to stay. They saw each other again. Slowly. Carefully. He never pretended his life was simple, and she never pretended she wasn't afraid. They learned each other in layers, building trust not from perfection but from consistency. The girls became part of her world in gentle ways, teaching her that love multiplies rather than divides. She learned that waiting doesn't always mean being forgotten. Sometimes it means being prepared. Near the end of this story, if it's already tugging at something inside you, if you've ever felt overlooked or tempted to walk away too soon, please take a moment to like, comment, and share this video. Your engagement helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. And just before the ending, here's a special request. Comment below and tell us, would you have waited, or would you have left? Years later, when she thought back to that night, the memory still felt cinematic. The empty table, the quiet disappointment, the door opening at just the right moment. She understood now that love doesn't always arrive wrapped in romance. Sometimes it comes carrying responsibility, history, and 3 small hands reaching out in trust. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is stay seated a little longer, even when you're tired of waiting. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that timing isn't always rejection and delays can be divine, let us know by engaging with this video. Your support keeps these stories alive. Because somewhere out there, someone is sitting alone at a table, thinking they've been forgotten, not knowing that something beautiful is already on its way.